Hello YouTube and welcome back into another Dare to Game video. Today we will be doing some more Hogwarts Legacy discussion, and specifically speculation. And I wanted to talk about some existing characters in Harry Potter lore that could hypothetically be in this game, since they could all be alive during this time period. So, since this is a pretty simple premise, let's just dive on in and get started. Number 1, MINERVA McGonagall. Born in 1889, MINERVA McGonagall would be very young, potentially just a baby during the events of Hogwarts Legacy, but she could hypothetically appear, perhaps in the arms of her parents visiting Hogsmeade. This one isn't a stretch at all, but wouldn't really be a meaningful inclusion in any serious way, and would likely just be fan service. But given how iconic of a character she would become, and the fact that she is featured in both the Harry Potter series and the Fantastic Beasts series, it wouldn't be that weird for her to feature as even an obscure Easter egg. Number 2, the Trolley Witch. So this one is more of a fun nod than a serious suggestion. But the Trolley Witch from Harry Potter, you know, the woman who sells treats on the Hogwarts Express, and is presumably also functions as some form of security for the train. Yeah, she's over 190 years old during the events of the Harry Potter franchise. This means that she was born sometime in the 1830s, and means that she could very well feature in Hogwarts Legacy. For all we know, her entire career has been serving aboard the Hogwarts Express, and given the fact that she attended Dumbledore's funeral, she was possibly more than what she seemed. I would not be surprised if in the game, if the Hogwarts Express plays a role, that we might see this familiar figure pushing the cart, selling candy from the trolley. Number 3, Armando DIPPET. This well-known headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the man to hold the job directly preceding Albus Dumbledore, was 355 years old at the time of his death in 1992. Being born in 1637, he would of course be alive and perfectly able to participate in the events of Hogwarts Legacy in 1890. After all, he would only be 253 at the time that this game takes place, so practically in his prime. This famous wizard was headmaster of Hogwarts from the 1940s until 1971, and led the school through the Grindelwald crisis, and later when Tom Riddle would open the Chamber of Secrets. So at the time this game takes place, I'm willing to bet that he will be well known and a powerful wizard, and it would be cool to see what he was up to before taking over Hogwarts. Number 5, NICOLAS Flamel. Of course, the low-hanging fruit here is the legendary French wizard and alchemist Nicolas Flamel. He featured both in the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, albeit somewhat indirectly as the creator of the aforementioned stone, and then more prominently in the second Fantastic Beasts movie. He was born in 1326 and didn't die until 1992. So at the time this game takes place, he would have been a youthful 564 years young. Being the creator and owner of the Philosopher's Stone, he had the ability to create the elixir of life, which basically made him immortal, and of course also turns any substance into gold. So he was very likely very wealthy and powerful. It was also in the 1890s when he would meet a teenage Albus Dumbledore, and they would begin their friendship and alchemical partnership. This could of course feature prominently in the game as a well-known event that just so happens to have happened at the same time that this game takes place. And that brings us right to number 6, Albus Dumbledore. Born in 1881, Albus Dumbledore would be 9 in 1890, and so would not yet be attending Hogwarts. However, he could be seen as a child, or if the game has events past the vague date of 1890, we could see a young first-year Albus Dumbledore attending Hogwarts. It would seem very strange indeed if they did not include such an iconic character in some way in the game, given the fact that they chose to set it so closely to when he famously attended Hogwarts. Given that Albus Dumbledore's first year at Hogwarts wouldn't be until 1892, when he turned 11, we would need to be in the game long enough for that year to come about to see him as a student, given the stated date of 1890 for when Hogwarts Legacy begins. But who knows? I find it highly likely that we will see him in some capacity in this game. At number 7, we've got GELERT Grindelwald. Being slightly younger than Dumbledore, GELERT Grindelwald is even less likely than the former to appear in this game. However, given the fact that he was born in 1883 and would be 7 at the time this game takes place, it is, again, theoretically possible that he will make an appearance in the game in some capacity. Like with Dumbledore and McGonagall, it is unlikely to be a major role, and likely more of an Easter egg or reference if he appears at all. It is still hypothetically possible and would make sense given the fact that he plays such a prominent role in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. Number 8, BATHILDA BAGSHOT. Born in 1873 or earlier, BATHILDA BAGSHOT prominent witch and magic historian, author of A History of Magic and at least 10 other books, Bathilda Bagshot could very likely feature in Hogwarts Legacy. In 1890, she was already living in Godric's Hollow as an adult. She was neighbors with the Potter family there, as well as the Dumbledores. She is the great aunt of GELERT Grindelwald, and it is through her that the connection between Dumbledore and Grindelwald would eventually meet. She is a huge character in the story, being famous, well-regarded, and well-known. So I think her featuring in the game in some capacity should be obvious. Number 9, PHINEAS NIGELLUS Black. Born in 1847 and not dying until 1925, PHINEAS NIGELLUS Black was certainly alive during the events of Hogwarts Legacy, and may have even been headmaster of the school at this time. We know that he was headmaster when Albus Dumbledore attended Hogwarts, and so it is very likely that he will be the big man on campus during our tenure at the school. He was a Slytherin who detested being a teacher at Hogwarts, and was later promoted to the position of headmaster, a position which he also detested. He found students to be self-absorbed and tedious, and disliked educating them. Being a member of the Black family, it is possible that he was a racist and opposed Muggle-born students. However, there is never a record of him barring admissions to Muggle-born students. It is also stated that he was the least popular headmaster of Hogwarts ever by Sirius Black. So it's possible that he could play the archetype of the angry thorn in our side as we play as the young, plucky main characters. Picture the Dean in Animal House. And finally, at number 10, we have Fawkes the Phoenix. So lastly, we have Fawkes, Dumbledore's loyal pet phoenix, the very same bird that gave 2 tail feathers that would eventually be placed into the wands that would come to be owned by Voldemort and Harry Potter. This bird, being a phoenix, is an immortal creature, and so we have no idea when he was born. We know that it was sometime before 1938 for sure, as this was when young Tom Riddle would get his wand bearing one of Fawkes' tail feathers. However, there is no reason to believe that the phoenix is not far older than this, as again, phoenixes are immortal. This would be a relatively easy way to nod at the later stories, as Fawkes could potentially be a creature that the player character befriends or maybe even rescues, heals, or raises. It's hard to understate how easy it would be for Fawkes to be integrated into the game in some way, given the freedom the bird's narrative contains. And since we already know that we will be doing at least some care of magical beasts, such as was demonstrated in the Fantastic Beasts series, I think including Fawkes as one of those beasts is kind of a no-brainer. But that's all 10 characters that I think we could possibly see in the game in some way. I wanted to keep the list to just names or faces that the average fan would recognize, so there were several people I left off. If you want a part 2, there were quite a few more characters that I could have included, so let me know if you want some more wild speculation, and I would be happy to oblige. But with all that in mind, thanks so much for watching and have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.